Hi, welcome to live stream Yoga with Louise, tips and cues to keep you safe and strong on the mat. I want you to think of SUNUP as your snapshot view for today's class. Greet the opportunity of each new day with enthusiasm and energy. As always, play where you're comfortable, modify when you need to, rest when you need to. You ready? Let's hit the mat. We're going to start off today's practice standing towards the top end of the mat, and we'll find a soft, almost salutation-like intro to our class today. Standing up nice and tall in a comfortable summer seating with your feet maybe hip-width distance apart, and bring your hands together in prayer in front of your heart. Activate the prana between the hands by pressing gently. Feel that prana resonate throughout your whole body, and then open up your arms into a standing back bend and greet the sun up that each new day provides for you. Take it into a gentle forward fold, maybe hands to shins or hands to floor as you bend and extend the legs dynamically, waking up the back chain of the legs and keeping the belly button softly pulled in to center. Then step back the legs one at a time, coming into a 4-point kneeling frame on the mat as you take it into a dynamic cat-cow, playing at a 1-to-1 inhalation to exhalation ratio and just using the cat-cow to mobilize through the spine. Then come to stillness in 4-point kneeling and work on modified chaturanga, maybe floating the feet off the mat as you bend through the elbows. Find your way all the way down into the belly, legs long and lengthened on the mat, and then begin to peel up into a little cobra line. Big chest lift, keeping those elbows tucked into center. Maybe coming into full extension. Maybe marrying it into an up dog by bringing the leg line off the mat, strong through the core. Then trying to keep on the tops of your feet if you can. Bring it into a down dog, pause, and then flip the feet over and start to take your dog for a walk, keeping your pedal forward as you wake up the legs. Then hold your dog. Get an awesome stretch into the arms and the legs. Soften the right leg and step up, stacking underneath the hip. Replicate your step up on the left. And ragdoll style, leading with the back of your ribs. Restack, realign your body. Bring your hands to heart center in front of your heart. Then take a big breath in, and on an exhale, sit back into chair. Utkatasana. Fold it forward into Uttanasana, hands to floor or hands to shins, and see if you can hold the forward fold this time. Then soften the knees and take a lunge step back on the left, dropping as low as you can to the floor with your pelvis and playing with a little swaying motion. Think seesaw, forwards and backwards as you play with the foot on the back leg. Think toe and heel, opening up gently through the groin. Then ease your way into a full plank. Use your knees to chaturanga down, coming onto the belly. Start to think cobra, up dog, toes staying tucked under this time, and then down dog it. Soften the right knee. Give me a big warrior step forward to the inside of the right hand. Open up the back foot to 90. Windmill your arms open, tap the wall behind you, tap the wall in front, and settle the weight of your pelvis down, make it heavy. Then pivot on the back foot. Start to give me a modified warrior 1, floating both hands overhead. Looking for that drop down through the pelvis, not losing the bend on the lead leg. Drop your hands down to the mat to give me a full plank, and this time we'll work a full chaturanga, trying to keep the knees off the floor. As we bend through the elbows, bringing it to hovering just off the floor. Peel straight up into an up dog if you can, keeping those toes tucked under. You can use a cobra as an alternative. And then down dog pike. Bum piked up nice and high, stretching through the arms and the legs. Come onto the tips of your fingers. Give me a relaxed dog by bending through the knees, and then give me a little hop up, landing softly on the balls of your feet. Reground and come back into chair, floating the hands overhead. Keep your hands floating overhead as you reach for the sky and restack your whole body. Come into a little palm tree sway, keeping the hands in parallel, floating your hands off-center to one side as you bump your hips in the opposite direction so that your whole body resembles a palm tree swaying in the breeze. Stretching beautifully through the trunk and the arms. Come to stillness along the midline. Keep those hands overhead and fold forward into table, looking for stretch up the back chain of your legs. Inhale to stand up nice and tall. Exhale to fold in table. Let's do that 3 more times. Checking in on the weight in your feet as you do so, checking that the weight bearing is equal in all 4 quadrants so that you're getting maximum stretch up the back of your legs. Hold the table, then fold it forward, hands to shins or hands to floor. Maybe coming onto the tips of your fingers, softening your knees and taking a bunny hop backwards this time into down dog. Find your dog, maybe it begins relaxed and then the legs straighten out. Grounding through your hands as you settle into the stretch. Let's find a working 3-legged dog on the right. Soften the right knee, kick up the right leg behind you. At first give me an active brace, squaring up through the shoulders and the hips, and then start to soften that back foot and come into an arching dog by coming onto the tiptoes on the left. Start to arch through the spine as you bend the right knee, dropping the foot to the left, opening up beautifully through the right side of the ribs so that that foot looks like a little hanging scorpion tail behind you. We're going to use this arching dog to find our way into a warrior 2. Start to swing your floating leg through, stepping to the inside of the right hand. Open up the back foot to 90 and wiggle the arms open again, finding that warrior 2 stance again, reaching for the wall behind you and the wall in front. Pause here, look for strength, look for control in Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2. Then morph this frame into a side angle. Start to bend your lead elbow, relax it to your lead thigh and bring the back arm as close to your ear as you can. Stay here trying to hold the body weight in your core and not lean it all into the lead leg. See if you can maybe drop your lead arm down to the floor on the inside of your leg. Stay here in your side angle or morph into Skandasana by dropping down through your pelvis, extending the back leg toes to sky and reach for the back of your mat. Almost as if you were in a half a squat line with one leg extended. You could do fingertips to floor if floating hands are not working for you today. Then ease your way back to the front of the mat and find your way into a low lunge with your back toes tucked under. Reaching for the sky and thinking of that sun up visual that we set for ourselves at the beginning of the class. Greet each new opportunity with enthusiasm and energy. We're going to find our way into a full plank line from here. Training the lead leg and stepping back into a full plank. Pausing here, looking for strength through the arms, strength through the core, strength through the legs. Kumbhakasana. Stay here in your plank or look for an opportunity to find a side plank. Maybe you're knife edging both feet to the right. Maybe you're stacking one leg on top of the other. Maybe you're feeling uber strong today and you can open up the top leg as well so that your body resembles a little star frame. Play with it. Make a little sun shape on the mat. Not starfish, but sun today. Then ease your way back into your full plank. Relax the knees, the shins and the feet. and come into extended child, maybe allowing the knees to splay softly out as you push back, bum to heel. Take a bow on the mat, getting an awesome stretch into the shoulders, into the arms, making your bum as heavy as you can to your heels as you take a little bow in Balasana, child pose. Then think 4-point kneeling, but come onto the tips of your fingers, tuck your toes under, and push back bum to heel as you peel your knees off the floor. So you're in a really relaxed down dog. Use this relaxed down dog to take a little hop up, ragdoll up. We're going to restack, realign the whole body, and then find a focal point on the wall in front of you. We're going to come to a standing hand to big toe deep. Think knee to nose on the right, bringing the knee up to about hip height. And if you can, keeping your balance. So either arms at your side or hands on your hip creases or arms opened up into T. You're going to kick that leg away and you're going to try to hold the stretch as if you were pushing the wall on the opposite end of the room away from you. Use your core to keep that leg up nice and high. Then bend the knee, hug it in towards your chest, standing up as tall as you can. Try to marry the top of your thigh to your lower belly. Then let go of that right knee, relax the leg to the floor in front of you, pushing off your heel. We're coming into a modified hamstring stretch. Maybe place your hands on your hip creases and fold forward into table. Maybe this is where you stop, looking for maximum stretch up the back chain of your leg. Or maybe you can slide both arms down and reach for your big toe or the undercarriage of your foot. Peel the toes back and intensify the stretch. Then soften both knees. Restack and realign your legs back into parallel. Arms at your side as you circle the hands, gathering up energy. Bring it down in active prayer in front of your heart. Let's do that twice more. Think of circling the arms. You can symbolically think of this as you gathering energy from your SUNUP and internalizing it as you bring the hands down along the midline. Big breath in as you circle. Exhale as you bring those hands down along the center line. Let's rinse and repeat on side 2. Take a big breath in and find a standing back bend. Think of that SUNUP visual as you do this. Exhale to fold forward, hands to shins or hands to floor, and begin to dynamically bend and extend through the legs. Preparing your body for the fold in Uttanasana. Then maybe pause it before you step the body back into a 4-point kneeling frame and find a working 1-to-1 cat-cow. Inhaling for the cow frame, exhaling for the cat. Trying to keep the frame of your arms and your legs still as you mobilize through the spine, finding your belly connection. You're going to end in the tabletop position, looking for a long line through your neck and your spine. We're going to chaturanga down. Let's try feet off the mat if you can. You're going to bend through the elbows, keep hugging them in towards your ribs, maybe tapping your chin and your chest to the floor. And then relax down onto your belly and set yourself up for a cobra line. Finding a little marble underneath your nose, starting to roll it away and begin to peel up through the chest. Maybe you're staying in baby. Maybe you're fully extending through the arms. Maybe you're morphing into an up dog, pressing off your palms on the tops of your feet with a strong core. Try to keep on the tops of your feet as you pike your bum up to the sky, so you're stretching the tops of your feet. Then flip the feet over and start to take your dog for a pedaling walk. Looking for that stretch up the back chain of the legs every time you extend the one limb. Bum height up nice and high. Then settle into your down dog and hold your stretch. Soften the left knee. Step up on the left and on the right, trying to stack underneath the hips and ragdoll style. Peel back up to your start position, hands to heart center. Take a big breath into prep. On the exhale, sit back into chair, Utkatasana, and float the hands overhead. Pause for a moment here. Think of that SUNUP. Greet the opportunity of today. Fold it forward, hands to shins or hands to floor, and hold the fold this time. Thinking of the weight in your feet. Getting the beautiful stretch not only into the backs of the legs, but also into the spine, into the lower back, into the arms. Lunge step back on the right, and start to play with that Sirsambhustasana sway forward and backwards. Opening up beautifully through the hip flexors, through the groin. Then find a strong plank line. Pause. Look for strength in the arms, strength in the core, strength in the legs. Bend the knees, keep the toes tucked under as you come down to the mat. Bleeding from a cobra into an up dog, this time toes tucked under, strong arms, strong belly. Then down dog it, maybe sliding the feet slightly forward as you down dog it and looking for more anchorage through the back chain with your legs. Let's find a warrior 2 on the left. Soften the left knee, swing it up to the inside of the left hand. Open up the back foot to 90. Windmill the arms open, tap the wall behind you, tap the wall in front. Look for strength in your warrior. Make sure that the front leg is bent at 90. Breathe. Keep your gaze steady over your front forefinger. Then pivot on the back foot, drop your pelvis lower to the floor and float both hands overhead, thinking of that SUNUP visual. Drop your hands to the floor and ease your way into a full plank line, looking for strength, looking for control. Full chaturanga into up dog from here if you can manage it. Bend your elbows, trying to bring yourself to hovering just off the mat, then curve through the spine, push off your toes and your palms and find a strong up dog. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. Then down dog it, sliding the feet forward slightly. Look for that pike frame in your body. Then ease your way onto the tips of your fingers, soften the knees and give me a little bunny hop forward to find your way back into chair. Utkatasana with the hands reaching overhead. Keep the hands reaching overhead as you stand up nice and tall. Think Hastasana. Think of that SUNUP visual. Then square up through the body and start to play with a little palm tree sway, Palmiraswana, keeping the hands in parallel, palms looking into the center line as you think of just swaying like a tree in the breeze. Then come to stillness along the midline, still framing the ears on either side. Come into a working tabletop line. And back to standing, maybe 5 times. Looking for that work in the back chain of the legs as you play. Looking for the longest tabletop line that you can forge. Hold your next table. And then softly bring it into a forward fold. Hands to floor or hands to shins and hold the fold. Looking for that little bit of inversion of the blood into your head. We're going to hop it back from here into a down dog. So maybe come onto the tips of your fingers, soften the knees, take a bunny hop back. Think relaxed dog. And then settle the weight of your feet and your hands into the mat as you set up your down dog frame, Adho Mukha Svanasana. We're going to begin playing with that left leg, finding our way into a three-legged dog. When you're ready, soften the left knee, kick up into a three-legged dog at first, keeping an active brace into both feet and keeping square through the shoulders and the hips. Then start to soften the foot of your floating back leg. Bend the knee, start to arc through the spine as you open up the knee to the side of the room and drop the foot to the left, looking for a beautiful opening through the left side of your ribs, maybe even coming onto the tips of your toes on the right and really working that arch. We're going to find our way into a warrior two with that left leg. So swing it through to the inside of the left hand, open up the back foot to 90, windmill your frame open, tap the wall behind you, tap the wall in front, and try to drop lower this time as you find your way into Virabhadrasana 2, warrior 2, with your gaze steady over your front forefinger. Look for that opening through the groin, look for that strength through the legs and the arms. Make it a fierce warrior. Then think of morphing into a side angle, bending your lead elbow, bringing the top arm nice and close to your ear, beautiful extended side angle. You can either ground your hands to the floor, your lead arm to the floor, or you can come straight into Skandasana from here, making your bum heavy to the floor. So if you were coming into a squat line on the left, you're going to rotate your hands behind you as you extend the back leg and think toes to sky and reach both the back leg and both arms for the back edge of your mat, hovering your butt just off the mat as you come to Skandasana. You can ground both hands into the floor if floating the arms is not working for you today. Then ease your way back to the top end of the mat and find your way into a plank lunge. Nice and strong as you find your plank. Oh, sorry, we were supposed to do a low lunge. My bad. Keep the back toe tucked under. My bad. Find your sun up. Float those arms up to the sky. And then we'll find our way into the plank. Ease your way gently into the plank. Strong through the arms, strong through the core. Stay here in your full plank or look for an opportunity to play inside plank, maybe even coming into a modification of Vasisthasana. Knife edge your feet, keeping your hips up nice and high. Maybe you can stack one leg on top of the other, or maybe you can open up the top leg so that you look like a little sun shining on your mat. Find your way back into plank, strong through the belly, strong through the arms, strong through the legs. Begin to push back into an extended child. Release the knees, the shins, and the feet. Arms are long and extended on the mat as you take a little stretch here. You can either keep your legs in parallel or you can allow the big toes to kiss and the knees to open up a little bit wider if you need more space for the belly. Take a few relaxed breaths here. In your child, bowing to the opportunity of today, we're going to ease our way back into a relaxed dog from here. So think 4-point kneeling, but come onto the tips of your fingers, tuck your toes under, push your bum back towards the back of the mat as you peel your knees off the floor. Hold your relaxed dog, think belly to the tops of your thighs, and then when you're ready, take a little hop forward and start to peel up ragdoll style. We're going to find big toe D on the left. So restack, realign your whole body. Then think of pulling up a zip from your pubis towards your navel as you think knee to nose on the left. Arms are relaxed at your side, or they could be on the hips. Or you can open them up. You're going to kick that leg away. Using that pull-up action from your pubis towards your belly button to hold the leg in extension. Then bend the knee, hug it in towards your chest, standing up as tall as you can and trying to marry the top of your thigh to your lower belly. Then release that leg to the floor. We're going to find our way into a standing hamstring stretch. You're going to fold forward, maybe hands to hip creases. Maybe this is where you stop. Or maybe you can reach for your big toe or the undercarriage of your foot and you can peel back. Then soften both knees. Come back into a comfortable parallel stance. Arms are at your side, palms looking out. Circle the arms around, gathering energy. Harness that energy as you come down the center line in active prayer. We're going to do that 3 times. And then we're going to start running through the flow on the right and the left side. And we're going to move with more fluidity because we know where we're going to now. All right, last time. Ready to play? End with your hands in front of your heart. Big breath in. Give me a standing back bend. And think of that sun-up visual. Exhale to fold forward. Hands to knees or hands to shins. Bend and extend through the legs. Then hold the fold. Body should feel nicely warm now. Step it back into 4-point kneeling and find a working cat-cow, moving at a 1-to-1 inhalation to exhalation ratio and starting to find your rhythm, starting to find your flow as you build a working vinyasa. In somewhere between your cat and your cow, in a neutral line through the spine, lift both feet off the mat, bend the elbows, chaturanga down with control, coming onto the belly, peeling up into a baby cobra, maybe taking it into a full cobra, then pressing into an up dog, just the tops of your feet and your palms connected to the mat. Then pike, but stretch the tops of your feet first until you can't hold any more on the tops of your feet. Then tuck the toes under and bring it into a pedaling down dog, keeping the knees tracking forward. Then settle into your stretch and hold it. Step up the right leg and then the left. Peel up ragdoll style. Hands to heart center. Take a big breath in. On an exhale, step back into chair and float the hands overhead. Pause for a moment before you take it into a full forward fold, trying to keep your hands grounded to the floor if you can. Step back the left leg, coming into a lunge line, and seesaw the body weight forwards and backwards, looking for that delicious opening through the groin. Then settle into the lunge and step back into a full plank. Bend the knees. Keep the toes tucked under as you chaturanga down. Morphing from your cobra into your up dog with the toes tucked under this time. Down dog it. Take a lunge step forward on the right. Set up your warrior 2 as you open up the back foot to 90. Tap the wall behind you and the wall in front. Then pivot on the back foot. Frame the ears on either side and think of that sun-up visual. Find your way into a plank line. Chaturanga down. Using no knees this time if you can. Coming straight into your up dog, keeping the toes tucked under if you can manage it. And then down dog it. Come onto the tips of your fingers and take a little bunny hop forward to find your way back into chair. Keep the hands floating overhead as you come into Hastasana. Think of that sun-up visual. And then begin to find a palm tree sway. Keeping the hands open in parallel, framing your ears on either side as you sway through your entire body. Then come back to stillness along the midline. Fold forward into a working table, maybe 4 or 5 times. Keeping those hands long and reaching, looking for that stretch at the back of your legs, thinking of the weight placement in your feet. You're going to hold your next table fold. And then maybe bring it into a forward fold, hands to floor. We're going to do a bunny hop back into a down dog. So soften your knees, take a hop back, coming into a relaxed dog, and then starting to plant through the hands and the feet as you find your way into the full expression of down dog. We're going to find our way into an arching three-legged dog on the right. Soften the right knee, kick up the right leg behind you at first, square through the hips, square through the shoulders. Then come onto your tiptoes on the left, start to bend your floating back leg, open up the knee to the side of the room and arch your dog. Breathing nice and deeply into the right side of your ribs. We're going to step through from here to a warrior two. So when you're ready, start to deconstruct your arching dog, swing the leg through, open up the back foot to 90, tap the wall behind you and the wall in front as you settle into your warrior two. Then start to soften your lead elbow, find a side angle as you bring the back arm nice and close to your ear. Stay here, or maybe you'd like to ground hand to floor, or maybe you'd look for an opportunity to come into Skandasana from here, starting to drop your bottom down, starting to extend your back leg, float the toes to sky, and reach your hands to the back of the mat, almost as if you were sitting in a half squat line with one leg extended. We're going to find our way to a low lunge at the top end of the mat from here. So start to pivot, face the top end of the mat, tuck your back toe under, float your hands overhead as you come into Anyanya Asana crescent lunge. Think of that SUNUP visual. We're going to find a full plank line from here. Nice and strong on the mat. If you feel like playing, find your way into a side plank variant that works for you. Think of that SUNUP if you're opening up into the little sun frame. Then bleed your way back into a full plank before you press back into child pose when you're ready. Arms long and extended. Look for the stretch in the arms. Look for the stretch in the shoulders, into the ribs. Make your bum as heavy to your heels as you can. Pause for a moment in child. And then look towards the top end of the mat. Think 4-point kneeling, coming onto the tips of your fingers. Tuck your toes under. Use that zippering action from your pubis to your belly button to peel your knees off the floor, pushing your bum back towards the back of your mat. Take a little hop forward. Ragdoll style peel up. We're going to come into hand to big toe D. Arms are floating or relaxed on your hip creases. You're going to think knee to nose on the right, and you're going to kick the leg away. Using your lower abs to keep that foot and that limb in position. Then bend the knee, hug it in towards your chest, thinking lower belly tapping the top of your thigh. We'll bring it into a hamstring stretch from here. So starting to relax that lead leg to the floor, heel tapping the floor, toes looking to the sky, maybe hands to your hip creases, fold forward into table. Stay in table or drop through the table line and think of reaching for your big toes and maybe the ball of your foot, curling the toes back and looking for more stretch on the lead leg. Then soften through the knees. Come back into a comfortable parallel stance, arms at your side. Big breath in as you harness the energy of today. Exhale as you come down in active prayer. And internalize that energy. Let's do that twice more. Big breath in, find your rhythm. Exhale as you come down. One more time. Let's run through that vinyasa one last time, activating on the left side of the body. Big breath in as you find your standing back bend. Thinking of that SUNUP visual. Exhale to fold forward and start to bend and extend dynamically through the legs. Then hold your fold. Think of the weight in the feet. Think of that rush of blood into the head. We're going to step back into 4-point kneeling and find our way into a working cat-cow. Keeping your frame still and just mobilizing through the spine. Then come to stillness in a long tabletop line. Float both feet off the mat and work a modified chaturanga, bending your elbows, hugging them in towards the ribs to find your way down into the belly. Relax the legs and start to peel up into a chest lift cobra, maybe coming into full extension, then morphing into an up dog, resting the weight on the tops of your feet. Keep the weight on the tops of your feet as you think down dog pike. And when you can't hold the stretch on the tops of your feet anymore, flip the feet over and give me a walking down dog, keeping your knees tracking forward. Open up the back chain of your legs and then try to hold your down dog, stretching through the arms and the legs and looking for that beautiful release of your down dog stretch. Step up the left leg and then the right. Ragdoll style peel up. Hands to heart center. Big breath in. On an exhale, find your seat in chair, Utkatasana. Hands open and receptive. Fold it forward. Hold the fold. Big lunge, step back on the right and start to play with that seesaw rocking motion forwards and backwards as you open up generously through the pelvis, stretching into the hip flexors. Then hold your lunge and marry it into a plank. Bend your knees, keep the toes tucked under as you work a modified chaturanga. Then cobra, flowing into up dog, flowing into down dog. Soften your left leg, step to the inside of the left hand, open up the back foot to 90 and wiggle your way into a strong warrior two stance on the mat. Keep your gaze steady over your front forefinger and look for a drop down through the pelvis. Drop down even further as you pivot on the back foot. Open up your hands to the sky and think of that sun-up visual. Relax your hands either side the lead leg and step it back into a strong plank. Try to keep your legs floating this time as you chaturanga down, straight into an up dog, and then a down dog. Come onto the tips of your fingers, soften the knees, take a little bunny hop forward, straight into your chair, thinking of that sun-up visual. Keep that sun-up visual in mind as you straighten the body, arms reaching for the sky in Hastasana, and then start to bring it into a little palm tree sway, keeping the arms in parallel, almost trying to frame your head on either side as you find your palm tree sway. Come to stillness along the midline, working tabletop fold, keeping the arms open in parallel, maybe 4 or 5 times looking for that fold, thinking of the weight in your feet, thinking of that beautiful stretch through the back chain of your legs, keeping your arms and your core working. Hold your next tabletop pose, and then bring it into a fold. Maybe hands to floor, inverting the head and pausing. Before you think about how you're going to get into a down dog from here, soften your knees, come onto the tips of your fingers, hop back. Give me a relaxed dog first, and then start to plant your hands and your feet into the mat as you bring it into a full down dog. We're going to arch the dog on the left from here. Soften the left knee, kick up into a 3-legged dog on the left, Tripada, Adho Mukha, Svanasana. Then start to soften your floating back toe. Tiptoe on the right. Start to open up the knee as you bend it. Arch the dog. Look for that beautiful opening through the left side of your ribs. Then think about how you're going to use your current frame to come back into a warrior two with the left leg in front. So deconstruct your arching dog, swing the left leg through to the inside of the left hand, anchor through your back foot, tap the wall behind you and the wall in front of you as you find your warrior two stance. Find an extended side angle from here, starting to bend your lead elbow, relaxing into your lead thigh, and bringing the back arm as close to your ear as you can. We're going to come into Skandasana. From here, you're going to start to drop your bottom down to the mat. You're going to pivot to face the back of your mat. You're going to extend the back leg, toes to sky, and you're going to reach both sets of fingertips for the back of your mat. Think Tai Chi. From here, we're going to find our way into a low lunge, looking towards the top end of the mat and keeping the toes of the back foot tucked under. As you find your crescent lunge, think of that SUNUP visual. We're going to ease our way from here into a full plank line. Strong through the entire body. Stay here in your plank or look for an opportunity to play in side plank, finding the variant that works for you. Thinking of that SUNUP visual again, as you maybe form a little star frame, little sun frame on the mat. Ease your way back into plank. Pause there for a moment. Strong through the core, strong through the arms. We're going to push back into child pose, Balasana, from here. Look for the stretch through the arms and the shoulders. Make your hips heavy towards your bum. Then think 4-point kneeling, but on the tips of your fingers. Tuck your toes under. Pull your knees up off the floor. Find a relaxed dog. And use the relaxed dog to hop up. Ragdoll up. We're going to do a hand to big toe D position. So you're going to think knee to nose. On the left, you're going to kick the foot away, using that pull up from your pubis towards your belly button line to hold the stretch. Then bend the knee, hug it in towards your chest, standing up as tall and as proud as you can on the mat. We're going to find our standing hamstring stretch from here, dropping the lead leg to the floor just in front of your hip line, toes to sky, maybe hands on your hip creases as you fold forward into the hamstring stretch. Maybe you can come through the tabletop line and reach for the undercarriage of your front foot, curling the toes back and looking for more stretch. Then softening the knees, finding a comfortable parallel stance with the arms alongside your body. Big breath in as you harness the energy of today. Internalize that energy as you come down in active prayer on the exhale. Let's do that twice more. Visualize that SUNUP, harvest its energy, internalize it, use that enthusiasm, that energy for today. You can either end your practice standing up nice and tall in mountain, Tadasana, or you can maybe bring it to a high kneel, or maybe you'd like to sit back in Thunderbolt, Vajrasana. End off today's practice with your hands in prayer, nodding your chin to your chest in gratitude. SUNUP over an open heart is the only way to begin a new day with gratitude. Namaste to you. Thank you so much for coming out and joining me today. I do hope that you enjoyed today's practice. Till next time, keep it light.